Hey everyone, today we are going to discuss mental health. And the reason I'm doing this is because in my in this particular group that I'm in currently, we've been talking about it for a while now, right? And I feel like we've been talking about it so much that I should share my thoughts with you all. And hopefully by doing this it helps like bring awareness. Even though there's like thousands upon thousands of videos similar to this, I want to, even though there are videos similar to this, I'm still going to say what I think, just because this is the whole reason I made a YouTube channel, just to share my thoughts with the world, and it helps, you know. So straight off the bat, if you ever watched that movie Split, you mean if you ever heard of that movie Split and or watched it, you already know that uh it's uh it's an offense to people who have the ID. And for those who never saw Split, it's this movie is basically about an individual who has DID. And for those who don't know what DID is, in layman's terms, imagine if you struggle through no. Okay. Imagine if something really, really bad happened to you while you was younger, right? And it's so bad that your mind wouldn't be able to handle it. So in response, it splinters, right? And when it does this, another personality within your mind begins to form, right? And said personality will be created 99 out of 10 to protect you from the trauma you experience. Now, this is always the case because some personalities can be extremely harmful towards themselves. It's really complicated, so I suggest you do some research on it because it's very, yeah. I suggest you do some research on it for yourself to learn more. And DID it's DID itself is a disorder that separates itself from the rest, and that alone kind of is what makes it unique, basically. But despite this, people who have this disorder are still people who have this disorder is not who have this disorder is not like a walk in the park, right? Especially after watching a movie about your diagnosis and making it seem like it's a thing that people should be scared of. Even though 9 times out of 10, people who have the ID are actually less likely. No matter of fact, people who have the ID are like, yeah, people who have the ID are less likely to hurt anyone, right? They're more likely to hurt themselves than anyone else, right? And that's because it's a complicated disorder, and there's a lot of layers to it. But it could be because of various reasons. But I'm not gonna get into all that. Like I said, you should really look it up for yourself and see. But like I was saying, the movie Split, it really does harm to the DID community, right? And I'm sorry, guys, if you hear someone sound, that's my brother. So He's just on his Xbox. You already know how that is. But anyways, the movie Split. It's so harmful for individuals who have DID because now it's making them out to feel like monsters, right? And that's terrible. And it's not even the first time something like this happened, right? People like to think that if someone has schizophrenia, they're automatically dangerous, right? That's off the bat, even though that's not the case. Like, no lie, people who have schizophrenia are actually are more likely to get taken advantage of. Matter of fact, people with any disorder whatsoever are more likely to be taken advantage of. They are more likely to be harmed or harassed by normal individuals, right? And the sad part is certain movies, TV shows, books, and all that, they make you think the opposite. And it's really frustrating because it makes people unaware of just how much people with mental health disorders are struggling day to day. And it makes it even worse when they know that when movies, TV shows, or anything of the sort portrays their illness, they'll make it seem like a big deal than it actually is. Like they're wrong. They will either make a character who has a mental health disorder violent, um, yeah, either violent or just betray it as something else entirely. When in reality, it's not the case. Like, you know what I mean? And it's really, it's really sad to watch. Think of the anime called Soul Eaters, right? One of those characters, one of the characters in Soul Eaters have OCD, right? And the writers of Soul Eaters, the anime, and probably the manga too, will make that character comic relief, right? They intentionally make his OCD as a joke, right? And that's really offensive because people who have OCD or might be struggling to get by like on a daily basis, right? It might People who have OCD are really it's a struggle, right? It really is. And because of Soul Eaters, now most fans of the soul, I'm talking about the fangirls, are most now because of that character in Soul Eaters, people will say that he made OCD hot or stuff like that. They're basically romanticizing a mental health disorder, which is not only sad, but it's honestly sick to watch. Like, it's really disgusting. I don't know how else to describe it. And it doesn't even stop there. There are plenty of other examples that the media has there's plenty of examples of the media and individuals who will portray a mental disorder wrongly, right? And or make a person who has mental health violent for some reason, because that makes sense, you know. And it's like I don't know what to say. Like I already said all I need to say about that. I myself am diagnosed with Asperger's syndrome, right? And for people who don't know what that is, I have I'm basically diagnosed with autism, right? I'm I'm just on the spectrum basically, right? And I'm not gonna sit here and say that me having autism has affected my life greatly when it's not really the case. I mean, personally, I don't really see the problem with uh with with it. Basically, I just go about my day to day. You know, like it hasn't really affected me in it hasn't really affected me in a negative sense, right? But people I know that people who have autism will are struggling. Some people who have it are probably struggling, and it's probably really hard for them, you know. And it's something that you have to take into account and consideration. And I want everyone to know that just because you have autism, it doesn't make you dumb. Okay, it is a neurological disorder, not a mental health disorder. It is purely neurological. Okay, it's not. It has nothing to do. It's not. It is not categorized as a mental health disorder. Okay, it is purely neurological. Okay, and 9 times out of 10, a person who have autism might be smarter than you, because yeah, if you think that someone with autism are stupid, people with autism are stupid or stuff something like that, then clearly like no, I'm not gonna get into that because that's not what this video is about. I'm not gonna waste my time. But yeah, I've also struggled with a lot of anxiety. I'm gonna say it's like paranoid anxiety, right? And it's like affecting me, but not as bad as most people, but it's still like affecting me like almost on like a daily basis. Let me explain. So I think the cause of let me explain what happens first. Okay, so basically when people like arguing and they get aggressive in any way, shape, or form, it basically triggers a sense of fear and panic for me. And 9 out of 10, I just try to escape that situation as best I can. And I think that the only reason I, the only reason that the only reason that this, the only reason that it's affecting me the way it is because of the environment that I grew up in, where there was a lot of arguments that sometimes turned violent. Right? It was a very, it was basically a dysfunctional family. It was yeah, it was very dysfunctional, and I think because of that, it where the it's I think that that's I think. Hold on. I think that's where the paranoia originated from. Yeah, and I'm going to say that the worst episode I had was when a fight broke out between me and my brother for stupid reasons, and it was mainly my fault. I couldn't tell that he was being sarcastic, so the fight was due to my fault. And afterwards, um, two of my family members started yelling at Zion and my brother. That's his name. But anyways, yeah, the two of my family members there's because of this more arguments started, right, and it got to the point where I just snapped at them, right, at two of my family members, and the reason for this, there's actually two reasons. Number one, I felt like all they were doing was just making the situation worse than it needed to be, right? And two, I think there's like a lot of built up resentment that I had that just like boiled over, because I do blame them for putting me in that situation. I do believe they were 100% responsible, but that's just me. But after everything was said and done, there was a moment where I legitimately thought that they were, I don't know how to say this, because oh my god, but I legitimately thought that they were going to kill me, I guess, or at least physically hurt me. It's complicated. It was something along those lines. Like it was bad. It was really bad. And it it didn't last for like 5 minutes or nothing. It lasted for like a really really long time until I wrote it down, and that basically helped me a lot. But yeah, that was by far the worst episode of paranormal that paranoia that I had. Yeah, and like, to be honest with you, like the um I don't know why it's so quiet all of a sudden. But anyways, to be honest with you, there was one point in my life where the thought of ending it all did occur once. And that was mainly because of a situation that kind of repeated. And that kind of like pushed my thought process to like the limit. I'm not thinking about that now, but it was like one point in my life where I actually really considered it, and I shouldn't have in the first place, but that's where it came to. And the only reason I'm sharing this because I want people to be aware that these types of things can happen and it can affect children greatly, especially if they are found in a similar situation that I was in. I want to bring awareness to stuff like that because um it's really I feel like it's like really unnecessary that when people get to arguments they mainly focus on themselves when in reality it affects almost everyone, you know? And it affected me. And it still affects me to this day. But there's nothing I can really do about it except learn to learn to deal with it in my own way. And I am. It's hard, but I'm learning. So, but yes, all we wanted to do is to bring awareness and for people to realize that people with mental health are not people with mental health are being severely misjudged, and they need they need all the support they can get, and some even more so. Especially people with um, schizophrenia or depression or things like that, or bipolar disorder. Those types of people really need support and love from their family and friends, and not just those people with those types of disorders. Like that doesn't just go out to those three examples. Every every single one who has a mental disorder should be um should be treated the same way, and not just people with mental disorders, but people with physical disabilities as well. Like they should be treated hand in hand. That's my form. That's my firm belief. But yeah, I thank everyone for watching, and I'll catch you guys next time. Peace.